Hello everyone, my name is Muhammad Ali Ajmal and I am an alumnus and foundry coordinator here at BIC Lahore. And it is my honor to welcome you at the first episode of Life Beyond BIC. Today I am joined by a very special alumna, Adeen Shabir, who completed her O-levels from Beacon House Kent campus, and then she went on to pursue her A-levels from BCP Gulberg, and then she joined BIC, where we met. Adeen, thank you so much for joining us today. Adeen completed her BSc Psychology from King's College University of London here at BIC, and now she's currently pursuing her Masters in Psychology from the esteemed University of Hertfordshire, London, United Kingdom. Adeen, thank you once again for joining us. If you could just give a brief introduction to our viewers about yourself.
Yeah, so firstly, thank you so much for having me. And you've given me quite a good introduction yourself. I've done my bachelor's here at BIC in psychology, and after that, I worked for a year at the Beacon House Liberty campus, where I was an academic counselor. And after that, I moved on to do my master's at the University of Hertfordshire in UK, and I'm currently doing that. I'm mostly done, just my thesis is left now. So hopefully soon enough I'll be done with that as well. And my time at BIC has been one of the most memorable years of my life. I've been in the student council as well. I was Social Welfare Society's president, and then I was also the Speaker of the House. So it's been quite a good journey over here.
Yes, so one fact about Adeen and I is that we also co-founded an NGO basically, which focuses on SDG 5 quality education. So me and Adeen are very close in different aspects as well, professional as well as personal. So Adeen, what's one thing that you miss about BIC now? I think it's been 2 years since you graduated. So what's one thing that you miss about BIC?
So the one thing that I miss the most is obviously coming to university every day and meeting all my friends and just the general university life overall over here, because now at master's level it is like it feels like it's like the whole environment is like too open for you, like it's like it's limitless. The exposure is too much, and I'm not going to say that the exposure is limited over here, but over here it's more comfortable. It's more one-to-one, and overall the environment is more welcoming. Over there in the very beginning, of course at master's level when I went there, it was a bit intimidating because of course the university is like so big. There are people
told you. I told you.
Yeah, the students are coming from all over the world, and somewhere you do feel, a little, I would say, isolated at times. But over at BIC, of course, I felt like we were all so closely knitted and everyone was together. And I think that warmth is something I really miss.
So why did you choose psychology? Were you always sure about choosing this your career trajectory?
Not always. Initially, I was a business student in OA and A levels, but in A levels, I did keep psychology as one of my subjects, and I got interested in psychology because I was like, I want to know what goes inside our minds and how the human behavior works, how is it shaped. So I was very interested in that. Plus, I never left business because my master's is actually in business, occupation and work psychology.
So it complements your interest.
Exactly. So I always wanted to pursue something towards the business side in psychology, within psychology. So that's why I chose this degree. Of course, at bachelor's level, I wanted to do a generic psychology degree, like an applied psychology degree, so that later I can decide in which field of psychology I want to specialize in. And then I decided to do it in business psychology.
Business.
Yeah.
So what's one myth you would like to bust about psychology students? When I was in my O levels, I used to think psychology students can read my mind, so I wouldn't think about different things in front of my cousin. Like I was like, she can read my mind. A therapist can hypnotize me. So what's one myth you would like to bust today?
Yeah, of course, this is one of the biggest myths itself, that psychologists can read your mind. and we often joke about it that we can't, we really can't. So
But you can intimidate someone, I can read your mind.
yeah, of course, of
You
course.
can be like,
Yeah, we can do that. Of course, that is one thing, and the other thing maybe is that the thing that we're constantly therapizing you, constantly counseling you.
yeah.
We are not. Sometimes we're just having fun. We're not really trying to read your behavior
Oh,
at
yeah.
all times.
So you are not judging, basically. I think.
Yeah, we're not. Yeah, we're not
Yeah,
constantly
you're
judging.
judging.
People often say that, oh, you know so much about human psychology and behavior, you would be judging us. And I'm like, no, we're not even like in that headspace all the time that I'm gonna, scrutinize your behavior
Yeah.
at all times. No, that's a myth.
Oh, you have this disorder, or you have this disorder.
Yeah, of course, it's innately sometimes we do get those
Yeah.
thoughts, but it's not always.
That's the part of being an empath, you're
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
oh, she had childhood problems, maybe.
Yeah,
That's why.
Yeah, we try to give an explanation to people's behavior, especially if
Yeah.
it's some sort of a
At
disturbing
least that's
behavior.
what I do, and I'm not a psychology student,
Yeah.
Yeah. So, we're talking about psychology and your studies. So, being very honest, what kind of student were you at BIC?
At BIC, I
Be
think
brutally honest.
I think I was always academic, but at the same time, I'm a very social person. I'm a very
Yeah.
people's person. So I think I was a good student, but at the same time, I was not always just a book junkie or a
Yeah.
nerd. I have always participated in all the activities, events. Like I think I've been in all of them
Yeah.
pretty much.
Pretty much.
Yeah, so I think I've been very active in that sense, and that's why I have such good memories with the university, because otherwise it would have just been like classes and lectures, and nobody misses those things.
Yeah, nobody misses those
Yeah.
things. Yeah.
So I think it's majorly because I was so connected with everyone. I had such lovely friends, and I did so much over here, like so many events, and we organized stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we
participated
did.
in things. Went on trips.
We went on
Those
trips.
were so memorable.
Spontaneous
Yeah,
plan.
spontaneous plans on the spot, and those were lovely.
On the fights as well, the arguments,
All the
everything.
drama.
All the drama.
I
So
understand.
what's one thing about student life nobody appreciates enough? Like in
Um,
your perspective.
I think the freedom, for
The
sure.
freedom.
The freedom of doing whatever you want to do, and leading your life the way you want to, and making your decisions the way you want. Because after the student life ends and you get into corporate, because I have seen that side as well since I worked for a year after
Yeah.
graduating from
You
Tech.
worked at Beacon Liberty as a counselor, right?
Yes, exactly. So I did see that, it's somewhat takes away a bit of your freedom, that, you do have to report at work at this hour, and then you
Oh,
have to
yes.
leave at this hour. And that's not the case where, in student life. Of course, you have to attend your
So
lectures at the
basically,
same
you are
time.
bound.
You are bound.
Time bound. You
Time
cannot-
bound. Responsibilities are there.
Even in your free time, you also have to be like, I have work tomorrow, so I can't go out at this time. I have to
Yes.
be back in bed. I need to get my 6 hours sleep.
Yeah.
So that's the thing.
No, it's not 6 hours for me. It used to be 4 hours for
4
me,
hours.
because I'm a night owl. So, yeah.
That was a real struggle for me. It still is to be a morning person, because
Yeah.
we have to report here at 9 as well. So.
Exactly. That's why I say that in student life, just enjoy your freedom. Like you can stay up as late as you want and do whatever you want. So yeah, for sure.
What's one thing you regret not doing at BIC?
Not doing at BIC. I think,
I think you should have ran for presidency.
yeah.
I think
Yeah, I think I agree with that. In the last year, in my final year, I think I took the back seat a little bit, because I was in my, I think, third last semester. I felt that I'm not focusing as much on my academics, and I didn't want to fall behind on that. Because of that, I thought that maybe all the extracurricular activities need to take a back seat, and I need to focus more on my academics. That's why in my final year, I didn't, run for any elections to be a part of the student council. Of course, I was still active in the events and stuff like that, but I didn't, get into the student council. So I think, yeah, that's something I did miss, and because of that, I couldn't engage in events and stuff
Events,
like that as
yes.
much either.
And also, I think you used to leave after your class most of the time. Didn't
Yeah.
stay back for banter and gossip.
Yeah, I think now I do sort of regret that as well,
Yeah.
because I should have stayed up, because I used to be so tired. I was like, I just want to.
You
As a,
just live 2 minutes away. Come
yeah, I
on.
live quite near, but I just used to, as I mentioned, that I'm a night owl. I used to stay up late, and then after my classes, I used to be so drowsy that I want to just sleep. So
Yeah.
I used to run home.
So I think tell us about your most delusional academic moment.
Delusional academic moment. I think 2-3 times when I was expecting less from myself, that I didn't perform as well, and perform as well. But when once my results came in, and they turned out to be so good, I scored a distinction in research, which is not my strong area. So I think at that moment I felt that I had been very delusional all this time,
Yeah.
that I can't do research, and I can't just ever be good at statistics. But when I scored well, and then I consistently scored well in each of the research related subjects, and I was like, no, I had been very delusional all this time that I can't do research. And I think that's one of the reasons that actually drive me to go for my master's as well in such a research heavy degree.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was like, no, I can actually do it. So I think that delusion was actually broken after that, and I was like, no, I can actually do good in it.
Okay, so what shocked you after graduating?
What shocked me after graduating? I think, of course, when the reality hits after the
Yeah.
bubble bursts, because all these years you've been very babied.
Yeah, you have
Yeah,
been babied.
yeah, by your family, by your friends, even by your professors. So, and then reality hits that now you need to, get on the driving seat of your life and, do everything
Do everything
yourself.
yourself.
I think that was the biggest shock. And you have to take those responsibilities that you had never taken before.
Taken for yes.
Yeah. And especially at your job, if when you're working, that all whatever you're doing is all your responsibility. And of course, I was a student counselor, so I had a great impact on the students. So I had to
Yes.
make sure that I don't do anything wrong, and I don't make any mistakes. So yeah, that was a big change.
I think the journey from being on this side of the table and to the other side of the table, it is quite a challenge itself. When
Yeah.
you are at that position, you are responsible for someone's future.
Exactly.
So it's quite
Yeah.
daunting and like quite amazing as well. I must
in a
say.
way, yeah.
What did success mean to you back then when you joined as a student, and what does success mean to you now? We come with such highly unexpectations. I would leave with a job with 4 lakh salary or 3 lakh salary. I'll
Yeah.
get 100% scholarship
Yeah.
from a top UK ranked university. So if you
Yeah.
could tell your perspective on it.
I think it is quite similar to what you said, that when you initially get into university, you're like, after I'm done with these 3 to 4 years, I'm going to land such a good job, and that's going to be success to me. And, maybe also scoring a good scholarship for, higher studies would be a great achievement. And that's what success looks like. But when I actually got onto the other side, I realized, especially when I was working, that it's not always money that matters.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you also need your peace.
I disagree. I am joking.
No, of course, monetary benefits are also important when you're working. Of course, when you're working so hard, you do need a reward for
Yeah,
that
you do
as
need
well.
your reward. Yeah.
But
Got
at-
bills to pay.
yeah, you got your bills to pay. But at the same time, if you're not able to have a good night's sleep after that, I don't think it's worth it.
Yeah,
So
true.
at the end of the day, it's your mental peace, that you're at peace with your work. You like it. I mean, it's very important to like your work. If you don't like your work, I don't think you can ever, keep doing that job, even if it's paying you
Yeah.
I don't know how much. So I think that's very important. That's one very important thing that I realized. And for me now, that looks like success. That I'm in a peaceful zone, that I don't have any stress in my life. and everything is going good, I am happy. I think happiness and success, and of course, at the same time, a good career, a fulfilling one.
Yeah.
I think that is what success looks like, and not necessarily a good, 100% scholarship is
True.
something that is always gonna, be a successful thing for you.
Or
Even
a
if
2-1 degree or a first class degree, second upper class degree.
no one even asks about it,
Yeah.
no one cares.
That's
Yeah.
what I keep telling all the students, but they're like, no, we need it, but
Of course, I was also like that. In A levels, I wanted straight A's and A stars.
yeah.
And in university, I wanted all distinctions, right? We all want that, of
Yeah.
course. But even if you miss one or two, that doesn't mean that it's not all worth it. It's still going. At the end of the day, everything's gonna be same.
Yeah.
Like today, I seriously sometimes laugh at myself at how tense I used to be during my A levels. What if I don't score A's and A stars? And today, when I sent my admission for my masters, they did not even ask me for my A level
They didn't
grades.
ask you,
Of
yeah.
course, they asked for my transcripts, but they didn't care if I had an A or an A star
Yeah.
in my A levels. All that mattered was that I had an undergrad degree in psychology,
Yeah.
and they didn't even care if it was 1-1 or 2-1.
That's precisely right, But were you expecting special treatment for being an A-star student? Okay, so Aline, if you could relive one day at BIC, which one would it be?
I think there has to be one of I think it's majorly 2 days for me.
Yeah.
So one very good day that I remember was in the very first semester when we all went for the SOS drive.
Oh yeah.
The whole
Iconic day.
it was not one day, it was actually 2 days, because one day we did all the shopping and we did all the preps for going for that.
Yeah.
And the next day we actually went. I think that was such a memorable and such a beautiful experience. Yeah. And the teamwork and the friendships that emerged from that.
Yeah.
I made so many friends from that experience. We all went together, did all the
Yes.
shopping, did everything together, and then we actually went there. We met all the kids. So I think that was a very, very memorable day. And of course, I definitely 100% want to relive it. So I think
Yeah.
that's one amazing day. And other than that, I think would also be very recently, I think before graduating, we had this psychology related event. So I had sort of my classes and stuff like that had ended. So I was technically not a student anymore, but still I came for that mental health day. And it was just so nice to see that, the psychology department is now, working so well in the university. And I think I really liked that day as well. And I would want to, relive that too, because I saw that all the students were engaging. They were actually taking interest in all the activities related to mental health and all that. So I think that was a very good day as well. Yeah.
So we also have, psychology department really outdid themselves. So we also have wellness hub now. So, basically we have a room where students can come for counseling sessions with their different teachers. So
Wow.
we also introduced that initiatives. So we have proper room for it. And, there's a timetable shared with students. So, they can walk in during those times and talk with a tutor or a counselor who is available at that time.
That's great.
So Adine, coming to the fun part, we are going to move to our next segment. It's green flag or red flag.
Wow.
So you have to tell, if it's I'll give you a statement, you have to tell if it's a green flag or a red flag for you. So we're not talking about humans. We're just
Scenarios.
Yeah. So scenario, we will be talking about scenarios. So pulling all-nighters before exams.
For me, a green flag always worked for me.
Always worked for you. Networking only when needing favors.
Red flag.
Red flag, okay. Being involved in too many societies.
For me, red flag.
Red flag,
Yeah.
skipping classes but attending events.
I want to say green flag. Yeah, green flag. It's okay.
Group study sessions.
Red flag. Never worked for me.
Having no LinkedIn profile.
Red flag. You should have one. I currently
Yes.
don't have one because mine got hacked.
Yeah, I remember.
Haven't made a new one since then.
Asking too many questions in class.
Red flag.
Doing internships early.
Green flag.
I think it's a good thing to do.
Good thing. Yeah, I did.
Romanticizing being busy.
Red flag.
Red flag. Oh, I used to romanticize being busy.
No, it's not always good to be so busy.
Yeah, it's not good to be so
Yeah.
busy. Last minute assignment culture.
I do engage in that, so I think green flag.
I think it's a red flag, but we engage it, so yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, of course it's a red flag,
Yeah.
but yeah, we tend to do it.
Okay, my favorite one. Running for student council just for popularity. Just for the sash, I can take a photo and post on Instagram.
Red flag. Do something with that.
Yeah. Joining societies only for certificates.
Red flag.
Sitting in the front row voluntarily. I'm a front row person. I've been all
Yeah.
my life.
I am also a front row person. Green
Yeah,
flag.
yeah.
Yeah.
Asking exam mein kya important hai in every class.
Red flag.
Red flag. Being active in events but inactive academically.
Red flag. You need to have a balance.
Making LinkedIn your entire personality.
Red flag.
Red flag.
I don't even have one now.
Taking streaks for Snapchat more than attending classes.
Red flag.
Red flag. Okay. Being friends with everyone on campus.
That's you. I want to say red flag, but you're my friend.
It is a red flag, you know, you have so many
Yeah.
problems in life.
Exactly. Red flag, guys.
Giving relationship advice while being single.
Red flag.
Red flag, yeah. Attending events only for free food.
Yeah, no, red flag.
I think green flag, you know, at least you're showing up.
Yeah, at least you're showing up. Yeah, okay.
Treating presentations like TED Talks.
Oh no, red flag. Presentations are presentations.
Yes. Dressing up even for an 8 a.m. class. We all know who this person is. Yeah.
It's okay, green flag.
Green flag,
Dress
yeah.
up.
Talking to faculty like corporate executives.
I don't know.
I think green flag, you know, you're giving them respect.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, green flag.
Oh my god, my favorite one. Calling every inconvenience character development. I think we all do that. We have to look at the positive side.
Of course, green flag.
Yeah. Taking aesthetic laptop photos during lectures. No shade thrown.
It's okay, green flag. It's
Green
fine.
flag.
It's fun.
Falling in love during assignment week.
Red flag.
Right. Been there, done that.
Don't do that.
Yeah. Becoming philosophical after one bad quiz.
Green flag. It's okay.
Yeah, it's okay. you
Whatever
know.
works for you.
Saying grades don't matter after grades drop.
Green flag.
One has to, you know, motivate
yeah,
themselves.
motivate themselves. Yeah.
So, making reels during event setup chaos. You know, you just care about.
Red flag. No, it'll help make the setup good first. Yeah.
So, you know, coming to our next segment, rapid fire.
How?
One of my favorite. One word that describes BIC.
Welcoming.
Describe your BIC life in 3 words.
Social, chaotic, vibrant.
Vibrant. Most dangerous week of the semester.
The assignment week, when all the assignments are due in the same week.
Chai or coffee during submissions.
Coffee. I'm a coffee person.
One thing every BIC student does.
I think bunk classes.
Yeah. Most chaotic society event experience.
I think at one of the Qawwalis, I think one of the Qawwalis that I attended
Yeah.
was very chaotic. I don't know for what reason, but it was a very chaotic one.
One thing students pretend to understand in psychology.
The human mind
That's
or the biology.
or the biology.
Yeah.
A module that humbled you.
I think it was philosophy of psychology. Yeah, I'm not a philosophical person.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, no, it really humbled me.
One thing you don't miss about BIC.
Don't miss about Beck. 9 a.m. classes.
9 a.m. classes. Okay. Most iconic BIC memory.
I think when I became the Speaker of the House.
Oh yeah.
In the last moment when I was not even running for it in the beginning, right? Yeah, it was very
You know,
iconic.
you were absent the entire campaign week as well.
Yeah, because I was not feeling well, if you remember. But I still won, so yeah.
Okay, so who's most likely to survive a zombie apocalypse at BIC?
Miss Mishra. Has to be her. Because she's been through it all.
Yeah. Who's the first person who you think would die?
You.
Yeah, that's true. Just by hearing it, I would, faint and
Yeah, so I'm
pass
done.
away. One thing junior should know before joining BIC.
I think it's that it's a learning curve over here because it's mostly international degrees.
Yes.
In fact, all of them are international degrees. So it's a new system that you have to adapt into,
Yes.
and you have to learn a lot of new things, the courseworks and all of that, the teaching style, the academic expectations are quite different from the Pakistani universities and our Pakistani education system. So you just need to be prepared that you would need to learn a lot of new things, and you have to be adaptable for that. So yeah, that's something they should know. But overall, it's going to be a great experience once you get the hang of it. You would actually have something to flex about, that things that maybe others don't.
What screams BIC student?
Just I think would be hanging out in the common room,
Yeah.
not caring about attending a 9 a.m. lecture.
Yeah.
And just coming all dressed up and
Not
as
for the classes.
not for the classes, for the people, and just going in the cafeteria and having like hours of conversations with your friends, munching on food. I think that's a classic BIC student.
Okay, then I'm gonna put you on the spot and ask you a question that's not on the script, and that is, name 2 of your best friends at BIC.
Obviously, it is you.
Of course, you
Mr.
would say.
No.
You would say it because you're sitting in front of me.
Oh no! Even if you were not here, please, it has to be you, of course, Mr. Muhammad Ali Ajmal, and of course Arbab Bashir. Yeah.
Arbab Bashir, yeah.
Yeah.
He must be so happy after hearing this.
Yeah, he's my London buddy now.
He is your London buddy. So, what are your future plans now that you are completing your masters? So, what are your future plans?
So of course, after I'm done with my masters this September, I plan to do a relevant internship or a job in the UK itself. So because I do want to get a good UK work experience. So I'm planning to start applying for internships and jobs as soon as I go back from my holiday, and then I hopefully, if I land one, so I'll be doing that. That's my really near futures plan. And after that, once I have some experience from UK, I plan to come back to Pakistan because I really miss home. And I want to start a career over here in HR or consultancy. So I plan to do that, and I also plan to open a coffee shop.
Coffee shop. Yeah, I
That
think
keeps coming up in my conversations in
Yes.
Lahore. Loving the coffee culture that's booming up in Lahore, and Beacon House has also opened their coffee
Remix.
shop Remix.
Yeah, shout out to Remix.
Just shout out to Remix because that's lovely. Knowing that our
Yes.
uni also has a coffee shop
system.
now, so that's lovely.
Now they better give us discounts to alumni and Beacon House.
They
people.
should.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'm bringing competition the next year, hopefully,
Yes.
by opening up my own coffee shop.
Should I expect a wedding invitation?
No, not anytime soon.
Not anytime soon. Well, that's sad. Okay, so Aline, as we move to the end of our podcast episode, I would like to ask you one last question. So, if you could send one message to your younger self walking into BIC for the first time, what would it be?
It would definitely be that you will figure it all out. You will figure it all out, because I remember all the times when I used to stress so much about things, over assignments, over exams, and sometimes when some technical issues would come up, my whole world would fall apart. What would happen now? So I definitely would want to tell myself that it is all going to be okay, and you don't need to stress so much over little things, and it's all going to be fine.
Are you happy and content where you are today?
Yes.
You are?
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Hadeen. It was lovely having you here.
Yeah,
The
thank you
first
so
episode,
much.
and thank you to all those who tuned in. Until next time, Allah Hafiz.
Allah Hafiz.